Hey everyone, it's Jackie. So, PLL Season 6, Episode 10, Game Over Charles, aka Charlotte, aka Cece. I'm just not happy. I mean, I'm not gonna say it was the worst case scenario, because it wasn't. Like, it could have been worse. Like, if it was Toby, I would just quit watching the show altogether. If it was Ezra, I would have been like, well, that makes no sense, and why'd you make me watch all these Ezra scenes all these years? If it had been one of the girls, I would have been like, what? Like, and, you know, so it could have been much worse. It could have been some character who, like, was in one episode, but, like, it wasn't good. It didn't make sense. Like, I totally thought it was possible for Cece to be Redcoat. There were reasons that I was suspicious of Cece, like, how did she know that Hannah shoplifted when that happened after Allison was missing? Why does she always try to pin the blame on someone else, like Paige, Melissa, etc., etc.? I always thought that Cece was shady, but, like, her being Charles, Charlotte, you know, whatever, it doesn't make sense. I actually say in my reaction video when she first revealed, I'm like, okay, well, she has to be Redcoat then. All right, good. And, like, it doesn't make sense for her to be Charles. And it just bugs me because the more I think about it, the more things that I think of that don't make sense. The lighting in here is so bad. I'm sorry. Let me just, like, try to... whatever. Sorry, it's bad lighting. My face is, like, really bright on one side because of the sun. Wait, no, hold on. I'll close the curtains. See if that's better. Oh, that's so much better. See? Alright. Okay, so it could have been worse, but the more I think about it, the less sense it makes. And I'm just really mad because Marlene King claims that she's known about this for years, and I'm just like, really? And it doesn't make sense. There are times when something doesn't make any sense, and I'm like, did you even watch your own show? Like, the fans could have come up with a much better answers, a much better solution for this. Like, honestly, I wish I wrote PLL, because if I did, it would make so much more sense, because Marlene King clearly doesn't watch her own freaking show. And it's so annoying, honestly. And the only reason I'm going to keep watching the show is because I shipped Bobby too much. So they better be together after this time jump, because if they're not, I will have no reason to live. That's a bit of hyperbole, but you get what I'm saying. Because, I'm only going to keep watching because I ship them so hard. Like, OTP I ship most out of all my shows that are currently on television. So, that's it. I'm really sick of it, and I feel like if there's an Uber, which there probably will be, it's going to be another crappy reveal that doesn't make any sense. Don't get your hopes up. I've seen so many theories that were better than what actually happened. So, I've come up with better theories. You guys have come up with better theories. I've watched better theory videos. Yeah. And, you know, I don't want to be rude, but it really bothers me that there's probably people right now who are celebrating that they got this right when their theory was full of plot holes and they did not work as hard as the rest of us trying to find a theory that made sense. Like, no offense if you thought Cece was Charles, like, okay, good for you, but the theory didn't make any sense, and clearly all of us spent more time thinking about this than Marlene King did, so we should just write the show. It would be better that way, honestly. Okay, let's just start talking about this episode and stuff that bugged me. I made a video last night complaining about it, but here's some more thoughts that I thought of just now, and we'll just run through it. First of all, with this transgender thing, how did Cece even get a sex change while she was in Radley? Like, I don't think the mental hospital let you go have a sex change. Like, I don't think they would let you do that when you were a patient. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, I'm all for transgender people, you know, being able to have the body that they've always felt like they should have. That's great. but I don't think Radley would let her go get a sex change. And it's clear that Cece is not physically a man. Like, you know, she's definitely female, sounds like a woman, looks like a woman. They implied that she and Eric Kahn used to hook up. I think he would notice if she had a penis, and that also makes no sense, because how did she even meet him? She didn't go to Rosewood High. Like, it's so dumb. Honestly, like, I feel like if I ever go back and watch the episodes with Cece in it, it's not going to make any sense. Like, I'm going to find even more things that are illogical, so. But, like, yeah, the mental hospital wouldn't, like, let her go get a sex change. It doesn't make any sense. I'm confused. Like, that, it doesn't happen. And, you know, what happened to Mona after the girls left her there? We didn't see her at the end. Like, what the hell happened to Mona? You know, where was Toby or Caleb or Ezra? Didn't they originally say that Toby, Caleb, and Ezra were going to be in this episode? Guess what? We didn't see them. Where'd they go after prom? How are they handling all this? Like, honestly, I'm really starting to wonder if they reshot this finale, but I'll talk about that at the end, because it doesn't make sense, and they went against so many things they told us before. So honestly, I just feel like they're making this up as they go along or something. And you know, what about Allie supposedly getting Cece kicked out of UPenn? They didn't mention that at all. What happened to that? Like that stupid frat party thing, like, and how did Cece get out of Raleigh to go on a trip to Cape May? She was just like, peace out, bitches, I'm going on vacation? Like, it's, okay, it's already, like, illogical enough that she managed to sneak out of Radley so many times. You're telling me she just took a little vacation and no one gave a crap that she wasn't there? No one noticed? And, like, it just doesn't make any sense. They're saying she was in Radley when Mona was in Radley, but, like, when did she get out exactly? Like, was it before season 3, or was she still sneaking out of Radley? When did she, like, she just took a little vacation to Cape May and no one batted an eye? I mean, I know Jessica's on the board of directors, but Jessica didn't know that Cece was coming. So it clearly was not Jessica pulling strings. It doesn't make any sense. Like, they just let her take a little vacation. It's stupid. I've said it before, I will say it again, the Cece Jason storyline was just disgusting. I want to throw up in my mouth just thinking about it. I believe, I must say at least 20 times in my video, this is so messed up when I was watching it, because it's disgusting, and I cannot believe ABC Family let them do that. I mean, look, okay, Cece, so you weren't thinking about him in a romantic or sexual way, but you let him think about you in a romantic and sexual way, and I hate how she just so nonchalantly like, oh yeah, he was so frustrated, but I mean, come on, look at me. That's disgusting. What is wrong with you? Poor Jason. Like, poor Jason is, like, gonna need therapy. He's gonna, like, fall off the wagon and start drinking again. Like, poor Jason. Jason is the person I feel sorry for most of all. Like, that boy had a rough life. I hope he hightails it out of Rosewood and never ever looks back, never speaks to his messed up family ever again, except for Spencer, because I love some space and sibling bonding. So, poor boy's been through enough. Poor Jason. And I said this in my other video too, the Marion story timeline makes no sense. Honestly, did the writers even watch their own show? This pisses me off so much, because it's clear to anyone who actually has watched the show that Marion died when Toby was a teenager, about 9th grade, I think, because I think Allison was like in 8th grade in that flashback. I'm not positive, but somewhere around there, right? So, since Cece/Charles/Charlotte is older than them, logically she would have been, like, in her late teens at least, when Marion died. Yet she was like a 12-year-old, or technically still a he at that point. Charles, Charlotte, Cece, whatever, was like 12. And then also what bothered me, Bethany was 17 when she died, so she's Toby's age. She would be 19 if she was still alive in the series timeline. So she should have been a young teenager, and she was like the same age as Charles. So you obviously don't know the ages of your own characters, don't know your own timeline, and I find it very hard to believe you had this planned for years because you can't even get the ages right. Like, literally, all you have to do is watch that flashback from A is 4 Alive and you realize that this makes no sense. And I find it really hard to believe they had this planned out supposedly for years because it seems really sloppy and thrown together. We all could have written a better finale. And like, what the hell is Sarah's motive for this? She never met these girls until the beginning of this summer. She's been in like, what? Like 10 episodes. Less than that, I think. Like 8 or 9 episodes. And she was mentioned once before. First of all, how did Cece meet Sarah? First of all. And why did Sarah decide, you know, I'm going to walk away from my entire life, my friends, my family, to help this chick I just met ruin the lives of some girls who I don't even know? What is Sarah's motive? There has to be more to the story because it makes no sense. And, you know, so she's Redcoat and she's Black Widow, which, okay. If Sarah had been Bethany, that would be a little different because, you know, we've known about Bethany for a little longer and we knew before this summer that she was somewhat important. So we actually had time to theorize about her. But Sarah, okay, before this summer, she was mentioned once and we were told that she wasn't important and, like, she wasn't even on our radar. How are we supposed to see this coming? It doesn't make any sense. And she has no motive because she didn't know anyone in Rosewood. She wasn't related to them. She wasn't related to the story at all. What the hell is her motive? Like, is she connected to Bethany Young somehow? Because Black Widow gives Bethany's parents flowers, like, to the parents of Bethany Young. So is she, like, secretly, like, trying to get back at Cece while at the same time working for Cece? It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm very, very confused. And it seems like really sloppy writing to me, and it makes me mad. Honestly, why would Sarah do this? Like, I mean, I knew she was shady. I knew it. I told you guys all. I didn't trust her. But, like, it bothers me that Sarah was two very important villains. It bothers me. Very much so. And, like, okay, so Cece wasn't wearing a yellow top that night. But Jason thought he saw Cece talking to Melissa. Granted, Jason was drunk, so he's not really reliable. But then Cece's like, I don't know, he must have seen Bethany, because Bethany stole my clothes. Why was Melissa talking to Bethany? And Melissa says she buried Bethany thinking it was Allison. If you had been talking to another blonde in a yellow top that night, why didn't you think, hey, maybe I should check to see which bitch this is in the yellow top? I know there's more than one. Doesn't make any sense. And, like, why would Melissa even talk to Bethany anyways? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Let me guess, plot twist, we'll find out in 6B that Bethany Young's father is Peter Hastings. Because Jessica was screwing her dad. Let me guess, that'll be the twist. Ugh, so dumb. So dumb. And you know, wouldn't Ren have known about Cece if she was still a patient while Mona was still a patient? You think he would, and like he gives Cece a visitor's pass to get in, but like Cece was a patient there, and it doesn't make any sense. I am so lost. Someone please shed a little light on this because I just don't get what's going on. I'm so lost. And why would Leslie say Charles escaped with Bethany if Charles was already Charlotte? Doesn't make any sense. I'm very, very confused. And I mean, I felt bad for Cece, like, it's awful that, you know, her family couldn't accept her as a woman, and, you know, when she was crying over Mrs. D, like, you know, mommy, I need you, that was very sad, and I felt bad for her, but her motive was weak, and I feel like she had no reason to torture these girls, and try to kill them, and basically, Allison's listening to all the stuff she did to them, just like, you know, you drove a car, I can't talk, drove a car into Emily's house, you know, you beat me up in my living room, like, what else did Cece do? She blew up Toby's house, tried to saw Emily in half, and it's just like, oh, well, yeah, none of them died, so, and I'm just like, and you're doing all of this because you thought the girls weren't sad enough when Allison went missing? It's such a stupid motive, and I feel bad for her, like, that she went through all this, and, you know, Kenneth couldn't accept her. Bethany framed her for Marion's murder, even though she didn't commit it. She was forced into treatments that she didn't need. You know, Jessica, the only person who she ever thought loved her, was murdered. It's very sad, but she had no reason to go after these girls, so I don't, like, feel bad for her in that aspect, like, she just did this because she enjoyed it. She admitted it. She was like, by the end, the game was too much for me. I was having too much fun. I couldn't stop. So you were messing with people's lives just for your own amusement. Like, I don't feel bad for her for that. Like, she's a crazy bitch. Like, seriously. And, you know, and like, what did the guys do? They got wrapped up in this too, and like, there were other people that hurt. Like, you did all of this because you didn't think they cared about Allison enough? Like, what the hell? It's just such a stupid motive, and like, we've all come up with much better ones, and so yeah, so like, her story was sad at points. Like, she had a rough childhood, but that doesn't excuse her actions towards these girls who literally did nothing to her. And what's with Allison being like, you guys know more about that night than you think you do? According to Cece, the girls had nothing to do with what happened that night. Like, they were just hanging out in the barn, drunk and drugged by Allison and taking some naps. So, it's really dumb. It's really dumb. And, you know, Jessica tells a story about Cece sneaking into Radley as Allison. Like, did she just make that up? Because that doesn't make any sense. Was that just her way of trying to keep Cece away from Allie? I don't know. Doesn't make any sense. And didn't they say someone was going to come back from the dead in this episode? Guess what? That didn't happen. But they did say it. I saw on Marlene's Twitter yesterday that one of the directors wrote a questionnaire for his daughters, and one of the questions was, someone is alive. Who is it? Guess what? We didn't find out that anyone who was dead was alive. It doesn't make any sense. Oh, also, another timeline inconsistency with Wilden. We knew Wilden was a young cop who helped Jessica cover up Marion's death and make it look like a suicide. But if Cece had been young when Marion died, Wilden's about the same age as her, so he would have been really young too, so it makes no sense. That's why Cece would have had to have been in her late teens when that murder occurred, because Wilden had to be old enough to be a cop. And, you know, you gotta be, what, like, you have to be 18 to be a cop, go to academy for several months, but apparently in Roseway you can go to cop school in, like, 5 days. And you're a cop now. Maybe that's why the police force is crap, because they go to cop school for, like, less than a week. Honestly. And Marlene just blatantly lied. She told us they were not going the transgender route. Okay, I get it, you want to keep your plot twist a secret, but you didn't have to answer the question. Don't just lie to your fans' faces. It's just not okay. I thought the characters in the show were supposed to be the liars, not you, Marlene. And honestly, I'm just really starting to wonder if they reshot this finale, because it was sloppy, full of plot holes, and seemed like something that was thrown together at the last minute. Lots of things we were promised did not happen. The guys were not in it. No one came back from the dead. Really? Like, no one was in this episode except for the liars, Sarah, and Cece. Oh, and Officer Barry. Officer Barry was in it too. Almost kind of like Marlene was just like, guys, we got hacked. Everyone who is available, come right now to the studio. We are going to throw some shit together, and that will be our finale. So, it should have been Ren, honestly. And there were lots of clues dropped about Ren. Like, he can't spell diagnosis. Doctor. He backstabbed Mona. Eddie Lamb says he's not there for the right reasons, then Eddie disappears. And I would have been fine with Cece being Redcoat. I would have been like, okay, well, she was already Redcoat, but it makes sense. And it doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sorry. I just feel like Marlene didn't really try. And I also am kind of offended a little bit that they made a transgender character the show's biggest villain. Lots of people are pissed about that, and I can see why, because I totally get where they're coming from. Like, there's not a lot of transgender representation in scripted shows. So you introduce a transgender character and make them a crazy psychopath who ruined the lives of some innocent teenage girls. That looks great for the transgender community. Way to go, Marlene. Way to go. So, those are my thoughts on the episode. The more I think about it, the more pissed off I get. At first I was okay with it, then I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. And then it just kept piling up, and now I'm pretty mad. But well, I had a feeling I would be disappointed because I knew that Ren was the only one who made remote sense. So I knew if it wasn't Ren, I was probably going to be pissed. And guess what? I am. So that's it. If I think of something else, I'll put it in the comments. You guys can all come complain to me. We can bitch about it together, because pretty much everyone I've talked to so far is pissed. No one likes it. And Marlene is so proud of herself, and I think she's going to lose a lot of viewers now. A lot of people are just done. And I wish I could be done too, but it's Poby. I hope they better be together, because after all this, I deserve at least that much. I deserve at least that smidgen of happiness. So, live chat tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Will last 1 hour till 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We can all bitch together on it and talk about how bad this episode was. Alright, so see you guys tomorrow. Love you all. I'm sorry this video was so void of enthusiasm, but I'm just not happy. Alright, bye guys.